All right, Shalom. Giving all praises, glory, and honors unto Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, by Hashem Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone that rule and teach well. Peace and blessings to the 144,000, rest of the hopeful elect out there, men and women. This is your brother, the priest, Desire One for GMS Atlanta. And I'm back with another edifying video. MOTB update. Africa will push the MOTB. Africa is getting ready to push the MOTB. And now by the MOTB, for those that don't know what it stands for, it is an acronym for the prophecy in Revelation, the 13th chapter, which stands for the mark of the beast. So let me get that. Let me get the book of Revelation, chapter 13, and verse 16. And this prophecy is soon to come to pass. Revelation 13 and 16, it says, "And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads." Now the he is speaking about the beast when you read up in the 13th chapter, which is comprised of different countries that represent the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, which those countries were also countries and regions and nations and people that were once a part of the ancient Roman Empire, which were ruled by Edomites. All right, Rome was ruled by the Edomites, or Esau, which is the nation of people in the Bible, also known as the wicked, which are so-called white people today, as they go by them by white today, or Caucasians. Those so-called white people that go back through their forefathers, grandfathers' line to Esau, are also known as the wicked, and they make up the beast and those governments that will eventually cause everyone around the world and make it a requirement to get a biometric implant, which in the scriptures is a mark. Now let me say this. Not all so-called white people or Caucasians are Edomites or the wicked. A good portion of them are Israelites, which are the righteous. So I just want to put that truth out there. Nevertheless, it is the so-called white supremacist power structure of the governments of Europe and America that are going to, as it says here in Bible prophecy, cause all people to receive the mark of the beast, which we call the MOTB. Now, one thing that I have to say as well is that they're also going to influence other countries to also push or require their citizens to get the mark, the MOTB, such as China and the East Asian countries. Russia is also included. North, South Korea, Japan, but also Africa. Okay? So when you look at what's going on in Africa, see if I can pull it up here. Africa is making way for the MOTB, the mark. But how are they doing it? They're doing it through the investment which different mainly the World Bank, which is run by the beast of Europe, all right, the Edomites, is through their investment in Africa that they have this, the Africa and these different countries in the continent of Africa are going to be able to introduce this technology in the near future. So it says African nations making digital ID gains in the face of common challenges. And the digital ID is the step before the MOTB. Because all people, no matter your social status, whether you're rich, whether you're poor, whether you're free or bond, you're going to have a digital national ID, not just in Africa, but in the continent of Asia and in North and South America as well. All these places around the world are introducing digital IDs at the same time because it is a part of prophecy. It is an agenda that the so-called white power structure has to gain control through villainous means of the planet Earth. That's why we have prophecies in the Bible to warn us of these things. And the prophets are here, such as myself and others. We believe we are the prophets here at GMS Great Millstone. We believe that we have this truth to warn the elect chosen of the Israelites to not take the biometric implant when it comes. But we also have to warn you about the system that is being developed so you'll know how to recognize the MOTB when it comes, like I said, in the near future. So it says several countries in Africa are on the right track with their national digital ID projects. But this is not coming on a platter of gold. Testimonies from almost half a dozen ID authorities at ID for Africa, well, that's what's going on right now, I believe, this event where they're pretty much getting these African countries ready for this new digital system. So it says authorities at ID for Africa Day 1 showed that they face common problems which can be effectively put under control if the right package of solutions is deployed. Representatives of ID authorities from Benin, Malawi, Mauritania, Tanzania, and Somalia, so that's Western and East Africa, explained their respective journeys, challenges faced, lessons learned, and ambitions for the future. So it says that they're having their hurdles, but they're making progress. So here it says Somalia's 15 million enrollment target. One curious ambition is Somalia's where the country launched its national digital ID system only 2 years ago with the help of Pakistan's national database and registration authority. So these different countries and different nations are helping each other. You know, Pakistan is helping Somalia and other countries in Africa. They have a digital ID system being set up. Ethiopia does. And they're being funded and backed by Esau, by Edom, by the beast. But is hoping to enroll 15 million citizens by the end of this year. So this is what they're dealing with. Mauritania at over 94% ID coverage. I'm just going to scroll through these. Tanzania, a story of bold reforms in Benin. It says our digital identity strategy focuses on connecting key national registers. We link identity to civil status, service delivery, and the economy. Right, buying and selling. This digital backbone enables institutions to verify, share, and use data seamlessly, he said. Malawi. So all these different countries in Africa are setting up their system. It says these and many factors have led to the country registering over 12.5 million people in this ID database and integrating over 30 public and private institutions. So businesses, along with individual people, institutions, are all going to be tied to this digital system. The ID card, he said, has several use cases, including election registration and social grants benefits. Malawi's ID system has been held in the past by the UNDP as a tool of social inclusion. Let's go back to the prophecy. Revelation 13 and 16 again. And he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond. So everybody is going to be included socially in this digital ID system in these various countries. This is, we're seeing, what I'm speaking about here is Bible prophecy manifesting itself. It says to receive a mark, which is eventually going to be the biometric implant, Wallet More, Neuralink. It says in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell. When you're buying and selling, you are either competing in the economy, you're either selling products, you got a business, or you're a consumer in the economy. You're either selling products or you're buying products. But you're gonna have to be registered in the digital system, and you're gonna have that implant. And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So you're going to have that chip, which is an implant. Okay? You're going to have that in order to participate in society in the future. But first, before they can just prick you, right? Insert the chip in your hand or your forehead. They got to have a system set up that is going to utilize all the information that they need in order to have you be a compliant citizen. Okay? But now, speaking of Africa here, I want to bring this out as well, dealing with Rwanda. All right, it says Rwanda launching a digital identity biometrics enrollment with $8.5 million budget. So they're really moving ahead with this system. It says the government of Rwanda is investing 12.2 billion Rwandan francs, all right, approximately 8.5 million US dollars in the upcoming 2025-2026 fiscal year to advance the rollout of the nation's digital identity program, including fingerprint and iris biometrics enrollment. What's the next step? The chip, the implant, which will be a biometric identity implant. This system is being set up in different countries, different continents, but they're all working together. It says Minister of ICT and Innovation, Paula Ingabire, told a parliamentary committee that the full cost of setting up the single digital identification system is anticipated to be 38 million US dollars. The New Times reports. So they're doing this in Rwanda. Okay. Now let's move over to the Middle East. What are they doing in the Middle East? All right, this is out of Iraq. It says 8 million voters did not complete biometric registration for November election. And by the way, this is from today's date, May 23rd, 2025. Now, who's in control of Iraq? Well, America was in there for 20 years? For a number of years. The Afghan-Iraq war. So it's really America that is investing in setting up this new system over there. That's what it was all about. Along with, oil and resources and things. But now they can really start to set these systems up in this country. They set puppets up over here. It says over 8 million eligible voters in Iraq have not yet completed biometric registration for the parliamentary elections in November, forcing the Independent High Electoral Commission to extend the deadline for registration earlier this week. The new deadline for biometric voter registration is June 15th. So they're definitely moving in different manners in order to get people tied into the system. You want to vote, you're going to have a biometric registration. And this is just Iraq. And it says here that they're not going for it. So what's the next step? to introduce the chip and make that mandatory. The regulation is a part of IHEC's effort to prevent electoral fraud and introduce more transparency. The country, however, has been seeing media reports of an underground trade in biometric voting cards. See, that's the problem. People can take these cards and they can still sell them like the black market, or here it says underground trade. So the solution would be, well, you know what? If they're going to sell these cards, then we're going to have to give them this implant. That way can't nobody sell it or take it from you. Watch and see. It says biometric voter cards are being bought and sold for $100 each, according to Kurdistan 24. So what you see as a problem and saying, oh, see, it's a problem. They're not really ready. They're not moving nothing out, rolling nothing out. No. Problem, reaction, solution. The Galilean dialectic and all these different programs and processes and mental gymnastics that these Edomites use on the people, they're all setting them up for their agenda. And these governments are in the hands of Esau, especially Iraq. So the solution for them, which we'll see, but I believe soon we're going to see that micro C chip, the implant, biometric implant, be rolled out. They might start out with these cards this year, but going into next year, I believe we're going to see a heavy shift and maybe commercials and marketing for the MOTB. Because we're here, we're close. The prophecies, the prophecies in the scriptures are definitely getting ready to come to pass soon. Okay. What is this? May 28, 2025. EAB Council of Hand Biometrics. So this is like a future event, I believe. Microsoft Teams. Yeah, so this is coming up on the 28th. Check this out. EAB Council of Wisdom, Hand Biometrics. Council of Wisdom, Hand Biometrics, Fingerprint, Palm, and Vein on Microsoft Teams. European, which is, like I said, is the B system. European Association for Biometrics. It's part of Europe, which Europe is a part of the beast in Revelation 13, is hosting a Council of Wisdom event about hand biometrics. So they're moving towards the MOTB in the hand. And it's going to be these governments that are going to push it. Okay? The beast is talking about these European, Roman world governments in the modern day. Okay? Which is NATO and America. The EAB Council of Wisdom is a new EAB format set up to answer any questions you may have regarding biometric modalities, technologies, research, and more. This edition will focus on hand biometrics, including fingerprints, veins, and palms. And they're going to have implants being put soon as well. But GMS is a bunch of bums, and we don't know the scriptures. And no. The Lord is dealing with the poor. He's dealing with the bums. So you different Israelite groups, y'all don't really have the vision. Even though the Heavenly Father is making it clear in your face, you can't really get into these prophecies like that because the Lord hasn't given you the eye salve. That's why when you read Revelation 2nd and 3rd chapters, he's going, the Lord, Yahushua, it's Yahushua. He's going through the churches, telling you to repent or take down your candlestick, so forth and so on, giving you the wisdom, and then, telling you to, I counsel thee to get the eye, to take the balm in the eye salve. Let me get that. Let me go to I believe it's Revelation, the 3rd chapter, because the Lord is opening up the eyes of the elect. And that's ultimately what it's about. But the Lord is opening the eyes of Israelites, mainly the elect, to see these prophecies in these last days come to pass. Okay. So these here are the words of Yahushua, Revelation 3:18. I counsel thee to buy of me gold, tried in the fire, that thou mayest be rich, and white raiment, that thou mayest be clothed, and that the shame of thy nakedness do not appear. Meaning you got to get the 100% truth. Not teach Jesus Christ like the IUIC does, and teaching the hell, and ISUBK teaching that John the Baptist wasn't in the truth, and just these different doctrines. That's why you can't see the full truth. It says, and you need to get the full truth from through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Shai, Great Millstone, GMS. Teach the right thing, that the shame of thy nakedness do not appear. It says, and anoint thine eyes with eye salve, that thou mayest see. Right? To give you the vision to see these prophecies, because we're coming to a time where the whole world is going to be faced with that temptation. As it says earlier above in Revelation the 10th verse, it's about to happen. Verse 10, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. And what is the hour of temptation going to be about? The great implantation, the great biometric implantation of the Motb in the hand, right? You got hand biometrics being spoken about now, and also in your forehead, in the brain. Okay? Let's see what this says here. First person credentials, next solution in line to solve proof of personhood. Yeah, see, now what they're setting up now is, these different digital systems, basically with the advent of AI, now you got to prove that you're a person and you're a human. It says, what are first-person credentials? First-person credentials are a variation on cryptographic proof of personhood. Rather than encrypted and decentralized biometric identifiers, first-person credentials work based on personal trust relationships. Let's see here. So just different ways that they can validate who you are. So let's go to the next thing. I just saw the headline. I thought it was interesting. How they're actually really just setting up these different systems in order to set up for their new digital world order. Okay. It says digital ID payments providers are trying to solve EIDAS ambiguities. Oh, and just going back, just real quick, speaking of Africa, right? Because I went into that briefly, right? Or that was the first thing that I went into. But is Bishop Nathaniel, is he going to go into this now? Now, they did this in the previous lesson. The Deacon Malachi, he mentioned about the digital ID, and it was going into Revelation, the 13th chapter, adding that digital ID will be a part of the MOTB. But is he going to add this to their lessons now officially? Because IUIC hasn't said that the mark is the implant. They've just mentioned digital ID. So since he wants to go all around Africa, Bishop Nathaniel, IUIC, they want to jet set. Are they gonna push this? Because this is happening in Africa right now. ID for Africa is a major event where they talk about national digital identification and things like that. So he sits down with these different leaders, government leaders and religious leaders. Is he going to warn them about what's coming? That this digital ID movement in Africa is leading to the implant. See, that's important. But like I read in Revelation, the 3rd chapter, right? You got to get that eye salve, man. Okay? You got to have that eye salve that thou mayest see. Right? I'm going to read verse 19. As many as I love, I rebuke and chasten. That's why you always seeing GMS get on these other groups. And we mention these names. Because they're not teaching the whole truth. They're teaching a lot of the truth, but they're not teaching everything. It says, be zealous, therefore, and repent. And there's a lot of repenting that General Yohana and Bishop Nathaniel and these different groups and men, women, and leaders and Israelites got to do, because y'all been coming against GMS, saying that we haven't been saying the right thing, and the whole world is literally moving right to the words that the Heavenly Father has had us here at GMS speak for all this time. It says the EU, European Union, has been busy building a regulatory foundation for its European digital identity, which will be offered to all Europeans by the end of 2026. So they're definitely, like I said, Europe is a part of the beast. They're definitely going to push the MOTB from here in America. It says, despite this, questions on legal intricacies remain, including for payment service providers. Remember the prophecies spoke about buying and selling. This is despite payments being considered to be among the top use cases for EUDI wallets. That's why when you read Revelation 13, going back, the top use for the mark is what? Verse 17, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark. The mark is the implant, but before they introduce the implant, they're going to have the digital system set up. And that's what we're seeing being developed over there in Europe, in Africa as well, in Asia, and here in the U.S. All right? It says, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name, which is, you got to be registered in the system. But the main thing is that mark, the MOTB. Okay? It says here, the Dutch Payments Association has now published an assessment on the impact of the EUDI wallet on payment processes. It says the Dutch Payment Association has now published an assessment on the impact of the EUDI wallet on payment processes. The paper, published by its EIDAS 2.0 task force, focuses on payments for natural persons who are holders of an EUDI wallet and provides industry guidance to help payment providers navigate ambiguities. So these businesses, help them set up, and these associations and other services help them set things up so when people are getting ready to use the system, everything is on point. Because, Esau is tightening up everything, all the screws loose on this, on these different projects that he has to set up his digital world order. Okay? Let me go back to Revelation, the 12th chapter, and let me read this precept real quick. This is Revelation chapter 12 and 12. It says, therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth, that's everywhere, and of the sea. For the devil, that's these Edomites, the beast, and this system, is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. They only have a short amount of time to get their agenda fulfilled with this MOTB, and that's their that's what they want to be their magnum opus or their crowning achievement. All right, but just as it says in the book of Job, I'm not going to get it. In the book of Job it says when they are about to eat, roughly paraphrasing, then the Lord is going to rain the nuclear fire, the nuclear destruction on them. Okay. Now here's the next thing. It says EU launches interoperable biometric matching service for border control. So everything is getting put in place. The European Union has made a big step in making its biometric databases for law enforcement and border control interoperable. On Monday, the European Commission launched a shared biometric matching service for fingerprints and facial images. The service stores 400 million biometric templates and makes them available across several European information systems. So when they introduce the MOTB and the system goes live, they're not going to be playing around, man. It's going to be just like in these future dystopian movies, Minority Report and Elysium and these other movies. In Time, that old movie with Justin Timberlake. Where you're going to be tied to a system. The Matrix. Can't forget about the Matrix. That they're going to be watching and looking, and they're going to have your information. They want to know who you are, like they're the Most High. I'm talking about Esau. These elites, these wicked elites behind the scenes that rule this world now. They want to set everything up to where they are like the Most High on earth, where they know all and see all. But like I mentioned, the Lord is going to destroy them. So they're setting things up. Okay? It says the EU and its member states currently run several large-scale IT systems related to border security, including the Schengen Information System, the European Dactyloscopy Database, and the Visa Information System. Remember, buying and selling. More systems are planned, including the upcoming entry-exit system. And I've spoken on that before. These systems were developed independently, making it difficult for law enforcement agencies to connect information about individuals stored in separate silos. But they want to bring it together. It says the system is delivered by EU LISA, the agency tasked with managing large-scale IT systems and ensuring their interoperability. So what at first was, different separate systems, they want them to all to be able to operate together. It says the biometric templates stored in the SBMs are obtained from biometric data stored in the Schengen Information System and the Common Identity Repository. So everything is being set up, man. Okay? The digital ID is coming before the MOTB. And once that system goes online and they can introduce the implant, then that's when things are going to move quick with the end of this society. World War III, the least of the flock will draw America into war. Babylon the Great, with the least of the flock, are the people in Israel today. They're going to draw America into World War III, and then eventually the destruction of Babylon the Great and Palestine, but also the salvation of the elect of Israel, man. Our salvation is near. Let me close out with a precept. Okay, this is 1 Corinthians. And see, with this MOTB and this digital ID system, biometric systems going online, soon, then we'll be out of here soon. Okay? Romans 13 and 11. It says, in that knowing the time, what time is it? It's time for these prophecies, time for the MOTB to come to pass. All right? And eventually the deliverance. And that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep. Okay? For now is our salvation nearer than when we believed. and our salvation is near. All right? So with that, I hope this is edifying. Once again, our praises goes to Yahweh Bashmi Al-Shai, Bashmi Al-Kakwadash. Double honor to the apostles, elder bishops of great millstone that rule and teach well. Shalom once again to the 144,000, the rest of the hopeful elect out there, to the men and children, men and women. With that, I'll say shalom.